my intent for this video is to just, prepare you for the exam. The life changer happens to be a recommended text for English studies in the 2024 UTME. So if you are enrolled for this year's UTME, this is a video you want to see till the end. I'll be showing you some areas you might have, seen while reading, or the ones you escaped in your reading process. If you've not even read the text, this video will give you enough to get you set for the exam. However, I would encourage that you still read the text. So the life changer happens to be a novel that contains stories, right? These are stories that Umi, one of the main characters in the text, tells her children. Anyway, she tells the story particularly to her first son, Umar, who had gained admission into the university to read law. But that's going too fast. So the story begins in the room of Umi's children. So Bint was telling Jamila about her experience earlier that day. She got to school, this new school, and this teacher, Malam Salihu, began to, almost like tout the children. What is good morning in French? What is good morning in French? She kept going and kept going. Nobody answered. Bint raised up her hand and then said bonjour. The teacher now responded with, that's very good, Bint now asked the teacher, what is that's very good in French? And Malam Salihu was lost for words. He did not know what that meant. So he called the French teacher, and the French teacher now said, c'est très bien, right? So the whole class laughed. And so after the teacher said, c'est très bien, she now said, c'est très bien. So the students in class, the pupils in class laughed. And, so while she was telling her sister this, they laughed too. So the mother got that Umi, she heard the laughter, and then she had to come to. So she got to the room and applauded her daughter, that's Bint, for responding and doing all she did. Umi has 4 children. The first of her children is Umar, who had gotten admission into the University of Read Law. Then there is Tima. Tima is the younger sister. So there is Jamila. Jamila is the 3rd child, Jamila. And then the 4th child is Bint. Bint is 5 years old, right? So she's the one that had the experience in school with Malam Salihu, right? So from that story, what now Umi now tells her children, like I said, particularly to Umar, her experience in the university. She told the story to prepare Umar for life in the university. Like as she told Umar, his life is about to change, that the university or the admission is the life changer. That's where the title of the text comes from. Is the life changer. Everything's about to change. So she tells her experience to Umar and the other children to get them set for the university life. So she begins by talking about how she got to meet this beautiful young lady in university called Salma. Salma, that at the time Umi was meeting Salma, she had attended another university and then come to this university. What happened was that she was expelled in that university, but I'll tell you much later in the story, right? So like in universities, a typical university is usually long queues to get everything done. For forms to be signed, you have to queue up, and also Salma got to this queue and she just got there, started complaining about how the lines are not moving, this and that, that and that. So this young man now comes and then begins to engage her. What's happening, young lady? And she now tells. She said a lot of hurtful things about the university process. How lecturers would intentionally delay students, that nothing is happening, but they just find it fun to make students feel bad and struggle. And so the man listened to all she said. Got to the office. Later on, Salma got to discover that man she was just saying those things to happens to be the HOD and the one that needs to sign. So when they meet, that's kind of feeling, right? So Salma became friends with Umi, and then Salma now tells Umi her experience in the former school. What had happened was that Salma got to this university, ABU Zaria, right? So she was to get everything done. So she got her hostel. She met these friends. Uh, she had three roommates in her hostel. So she had Tomiwa. Tomiwa is from Ibadan. There is Ada. Ada is from Benue State, but she prefers to say Middle Belt. And then there is Ngozi. Ngozi is from Imo State. So they came together in the room. It did not take so much time. What happened was that they became very close friends, almost like sisters. So they had one pot, and each person would, cook at different times. So today could be Salma's turn, tomorrow Tomiwa's turn, and then Ada, and then uh, Ngozi. So that's how they did in the room, right? So they were very close friends, right? So until one day, a problem ensued between Tomiwa and Salma. Salma, she went out of the school, so she was returning from uh, from where she went to back to school. She was at the wayside. This car now stops and invites her in. So she accepted the ride. She went with them to the hostel, right? And as she was about to leave the car, she was asked to provide her phone number. So she gave Tomiwa's phone number and gave Tomiwa's name. So she got back to the uh, hostel and then tells Tomiwa what had happened, that she had given her name to this stranger and her phone number, and that at 8 p.m. the next day, she should be expecting a call, right? And so the next day, 8 p.m., when Tomiwa heard this, she was very angry. Someone said she did that because Tomiwa was the only person in the room that did not have a boyfriend. So she did that, to make sure her friend, a very good friend, has a boyfriend like the rest of the girls in the room, right? So the next day, the call came in. Habib, right? Habib called Tomiwa. Tomiwa answered the call, came down from the hostel and then met with Habib, got into his car. So she was driven to the faculty of Suya. That's what the owner of the place calls it, right? He sells Suya, different kinds, right? So Habib now makes his driver, who happens to be his friend too, to go get things for us. So got chicken, got Suya, got beverages, right? And then he handed over 50,000 naira to uh, Tomiwa. When Tomiwa saw all of these things that was going on, at first she did not like the company. Like, she was almost like she wants to leave. She's uncomfortable. When she saw the money and she saw the things, the young lady, gave in, and then they became friends. They became boyfriend and girlfriend, and she discovered that Habib happens to be a senator, right? He would later become a very top personality in government. So they became boyfriend and girlfriend, right? When Salma now saw, so she was dropped in the hostel, right? So she goes to the room, now displays everything before the girls. You need to see how they were all happy, celebrating it. So they ate the suya, they shared the money, and it now evolved from that point, right? So it now moved over to the end of the story, end of their stay in the university, right? And they had a particular paper, the last paper. Salma dressed beautifully for it. Um, the novelist Khadijat Abubakar Jalli describes Sam as a very beautifully well endowed young lady, same as Tomiwa. The difference is Salma happens to be fair, while Tomiwa is dark, but they are both beautiful. So the last paper they had was a paper on moral philosophy. Uh, Salma dressed for that paper. She dressed elegantly. She had not attended the lecture because she felt moral philosophy is a walkover. What is there again in morality that she's not aware of, or she's not? So she did not bother reading her books. She did not bother doing any other thing, right? So just prepared to go there, write the exam, and then kill it. When the question paper was served her, she saw it. She knew she would fail, and this is her last paper. She happens to be all of them in that particular room. That Salma, Tomiwa, Ada, and Ngozi are B students, right? They were headed for a second class upper because they are very good students, right? So Salma saw the question paper and then she knew she would fail the exam. So close to her was the class guru, right, started counting him to give uh, uh, her help in the exam. So this young man who is trying to be, a sister skipper gives uh, Salma, something to help her with her exam. Salma collected it happily and began to write. She continued writing, not knowing that the vigilator who had left returned, right? And on returning, she came directly behind uh, Salma and then caught her. So she, like the university policy in that school says, if you are caught doing malpractice, you have to fill a particular form, the email, that is the exam malpractice form. So she filled the form, and the person who supplied that answer happens to be the witness, right? So she from there they went to see the HOD. The HOD now took it up, right, to the exam practice committee. And this is Salma's last exam in the university. She has to pass. She cannot afford failing and then, being expelled. So she now finds it. She was hesitant. How will she solve the problem? So she uh, went to see Habib. Habib at this time has now become the Speaker of the House of Assembly, right? Very big name. And then begins to tell him how she needs help, how she got into trouble, that she really did the exam practice, and she needs help to, escape being rusticated from the university. So she was able to get money from Habib, but she did that in exchange for her body. So Habib had sex with her, but at the end of the day, gave her the money. So she was happy. She took the money and went back to the university. So she was able to get somebody's name, who she was told happens to be the chairman of the exam and practice council. So she gives him the money in this hotel that she met him, and he told her that his name happens to be Dr. Kabir Mohammed. Right? So she gives the money happily with the hope that, everything would be a walkover the next day during the council meeting. She comes to the council, she comes before the council and discovers that Dr. Kabir is not one among them. She discovers she had been cheated. Right? She began to cry. And she now, frustrated, angry, she gives the name of the person who passed the expo over to her caller, and he too was implicated in the process. Both of them were rusticated from the university, right? So that's how she left school. But towards the end of the story, we found out that Salma now had she repented, right? After her dad died, the idea of the fact that life is transient, I think that's what made her now had a rethink of life. But what now basically helped her was her fiance, that Salim. Salim came and then they met, so they were planning to get married. Salim just got this Samsung phone, Note series, and he was everywhere on social media. He was on Facebook, Instagram, to go Badu. He was just, and then he met this particular lady that he calls Ugly Princess. So they were chatting, he had started developing interest in Ugly Princess until he saw her and discovered that there's a difference between what he saw on her DP and what he's seen in real life. What happened was he left that experience. But that was one amongst, a couple. So the second experience he had was the one that was with this girl, right? So they had chatted for a very long time on Facebook until he felt it was a need to go and see her. And, so that day he drove his father's SUV to her place, and then he parked, right? And uh, he did a military maneuver. He made sure he parked the car the direction he was to go. And the girl came out, and what he discovered was that it was a setup. The plan was to hijack the father's car. Well, uh, God helped him. He was able to get the hijackers away from the car, and then he drove home. At the end of the day, we discovered that Salma and uh, Salim, they got married, right? Ada, and so they all left school with a good result. Uh, Umi tells the story to her children, Umar, Tima, Jamila, and Bint. Particularly, she tells the story to Umar to get him set for the life that he would meet in university. But I missed a part, right? Somewhere along the line, there was this particular guy in Lafayette. Lafayette happens to be the setting where the play takes place, right? Happens to be this guy named Tali. Tali is an interesting character. How he was even given birth to, there are many rumors about it. One of the rumors was that his father and mother went to see this man, this Boka, right, medicine man, and the mother was given a particular potion and then she drank. And after drinking the potion, what happened was that she was able to conceive. Another one was that the man, the medicine man, slept with the wife and then she gave birth to Tali. But whatever the case may be, Tali now was born. So Tali's mother died uh, almost immediately after the birth. So the father had to remarry. Before Tali was 20 years old, Tali lost the father, the stepmother, and his mother. So he was very quiet as a result, right? He was responsible. Nobody thought any harm, about Tali. Tali was just, he would always stay at the front row during prayers, like everybody, until one day the grocer that usually sells groceries to Talian discovered that his orders became more than the usual. So he raised the matter up, and the Hakimi, the district head, now called him over to the palace. And while he was being interrogated, the policemen now came and they found him. His partner, Zaki, they had kidnapped somebody in Lafayette, right? Kidnapped the son, and they were asking for a ransom. So Zaki was found, and they got Tale, it was Tale gave his house as the venue for where the kidnapped victim, the boy, was to be kept, and so they were both arrested, but they were freed much later, and they made him vow never to return back to Lafayette, the city of his birth, right? While Zaki continued with his kidnapping escapade. We found out that Zaki was working for Habib, right? Habib wanted to deal with one of his political rivals. And so what he did was that he hired Zaki to do so, right? He would also hire Zaki, when Salma comes to, when Salma came to Habib to ask for help, with the exam practice thing she was involved with, Zaki was the one who was called upon, right, to go and deal with Dr. Kabir, who masqueraded as somebody who could help her with the exam practice, right? So she was really dealt with. Monies was collected from his pocket, and then he was left lifeless, right? So that's the story you'd find in Life Changer. So it is stories in a story, and this is the stories that Umi recount to her children from her experience in the university. She tells the children, particularly Umar, these stories to prepare him for life in the university. So the author of the text, Khadijat Abubakar Jalli, uses simple, concise, clear words to pass across her message. However, there are occasional words that will need the students to look up in the dictionary, and there are some quotes you would find here and there. We said the setting where everything takes place basically is Lafayette. We find that Salma, she went to school in ABU Zaria, and that's the Amina Hall, and all of that playing out. So in the text, that is the Life Changer, you would find some themes that the author communicates. One of those themes is the theme of deception, right? You find out that Salim met interesting characters online, right? Who appeared not to be what he thought they would be, right, in real life. The ugly princess who had a very beautiful display picture was found out to be something else, hideous, in real life, right? The other one who was beautiful, funny that happens to be, uh, she was party to a hijacking team, right? Tali too. Tali was, you could read deception into his act. He was quiet. Nobody knew that he was harboring a kidnapper, and his house became where the kidnapped victim was kept. Deception, right? We also find the theme of death, that the death of Tali's family, father, mother, stepmother, they all died in the text. We also find the theme of cheating, right? The reason why Salma was rusticated from the university was because she got involved in examination malpractice. So that earned her an expulsion and then brought her to this new school where Omi had gotten admission to, right? So see the theme of cheating. You also find the theme of uh, love, right? The love story between Salim and uh, Salma. The love story somehow changed Salma and then made her better. The experience Salim had with those girls, did a lot of things to shape in her mind. Also, death. You could find the death of Salma's father. That helped Salma. It clarified a lot of things for Salma. So it straightened her up, if you'd admit. So that those themes in the text. Also find the theme of marriage. That's the marriage between Salma and Salim, and also the marriage between Umi and her husband, right? It was on record that she should only go to school if she gets married. So her marriage coincided with her admission into the university, right? So I would recommend, after seeing this video, that if you've not read the text, to go through the text. Right? But all I've pointed out in this video are some of the things that would help you in your exam. I mentioned the names I mentioned carefully so that if they come up, you will know how to respond. So I hope this video has helped you. That's my intention for creating it and then putting it out. I hope it has helped you. If there's any question you have concerning life changer or anything for that matter, please leave in the comment section and I would respond to it, either by creating a video or by chatting you up. Thank you for having this time with me. See you in the next video.